Welcome into the December 5th episode of the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morassutti. Mixed emotions after the Leafs lost to the Bolts Saturday night. Mitch Marner made history, notching a point in his 19th straight game, but did so in a losing effort as the Leafs fall in OT. Again, Dave, again, is this starting to become a concerning trend? We'll chat about that and more coming up on today's edition of Locked On Leafs.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a one-stop shop for all things Leafs. I'm your host, Mike DiStefano from TSN 1050 Toronto Radio, also known as Al's brother on TSN's Overdrive and TSN 1050's Leafs Lunch. Joining me, it's my co-host, Dave Morassutti from Sportsnet, also a writer for the NHLPA. Locked On Leafs, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast, so be sure to subscribe for free. Wherever you get your podcast from, you can also now catch us up on video format on YouTube. Hit up Locked On Leafs, hit subscribe, and get new content directly to you each and every day, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. We're kind of combining. I'll be combining a Monday-ish Tuesday show since we had got to do it later on in the day, which was good because a lot of stuff came out of practice today that we can chat about as a way to kind of tee up the game against the Dallas Stars. But before we get into that and some of the new fresh blood that'll be entering the Maple Leafs lineup, we got to break down what happened on the weekend because, Dave, that was a big matchup, right? They're going into Tampa Bay, and last time they were there, they came away with a loss, and then just a couple nights later found themselves out of the playoffs. That was a bit of a playoff rivalry match, a rematch, if you will. They were a little shorthanded, obviously, like they've been the last couple of weeks on the blue line, but overall, we'll get to Mitch Marner in a moment, but overall, how did you think the Maple Leafs fared going into Tampa despite the loss?
You know what? I know that a lot of people are disappointed about the overtime loss, but let's not forget that this is still a very shorthanded Maple Leafs lineup facing a Tampa lineup that actually got stronger with Anthony Cirelli coming back. I'm like, of course, Cirelli's coming back against the Leafs. Of course. That's why I was okay. The way they lost, frustrating, especially because in the second period I thought they were taking that game over after the Marner goal, but I was okay with how it ended just because I felt the Leafs played a pretty good game considering they were shorthanded. The lineup Tampa Bay had the better lineup, top to bottom, because they didn't have to deal with the same injury issues the Leafs did. So at least they got a point out of it. Sure, you want to see the Leafs winning streak keep going. It was good that Marner streak kept going. So yeah, it's disappointing, but I wasn't totally, upset that they lost that game in overtime, other than how it ended in overtime.
Yeah, like you want them to come away with the full 2 points, especially in an interdivisional game where this could matter. This could be the difference between home ice and non-home ice when it comes down to it in April. So you don't want to drop these games to the Tampa Bay Lightning and give them an extra point. But ultimately, I think you have to be happy with the results and with the outcome. I thought they played decently well. I think that Toronto is honestly, like, the way that they're playing right now is really, really solid, sound hockey. Offensively, defensively, they're really buying in and playing well. You start to saw maybe some cracks in the armor, like Hollowell and Mete. They hadn't really been an issue until this game. I think was probably the first time where I was like, okay, they look like they're under siege. They look like they're outmatched. And they were, right? They were on the ice. They gave up together. Well, they give up Hollowell gave up 10 shots on goal when he was out there on the ice. Mete gave up 9 shots when he was out there, and both had an expected goal differential. Mete 22%, Hollowell 30%. And that's with some pretty favorable matchups, 70 and 66% ozone starts. So you kind of started to see the chinks in the armor there a little bit defensively, especially with the depth, which means we are going to have changes in this upcoming game. We'll chat about that in a moment. But ultimately, the fact that they still were able to take this game into overtime with the blue line that they had, I think definitely speaks volumes to, what this team can do at full strength when everyone's back. If they can play this same way and play bought into this 200-foot game, like you look at this game and it was totally a litmus test. Like it absolutely was. And I think the Maple Leafs, despite losing the game and losing the point, probably should still be pretty happy with the effort that they put out there on the ice in that game. It was pretty much a 50-50, hockey game when you look at it. I think, what was the expected goal differential? It's pretty well close to that. I'm pretty sure when I saw it. Yeah, 52 to 47%. So it's pretty darn close when all said and done. Even when you go at in all situations, the Maple Leafs technically, when you include the power play, in all situations, 51% expected goals. So could they won that game? Should they won that game? 41 scoring chances actually in that game. Vasilevsky was really good. Ultimately, I think you could still be pretty happy with getting out of there with a point. And I think that's 11 straight games that they've gone with getting at least a point. They haven't lost in regulation since Pittsburgh, since they lost that game against Pittsburgh. Yeah. So in the entire time that TJ Brody's been gone, they haven't lost a game in regulation. Just think about that. Think about that. That's crazy.
Just imagine what's going to happen when TJ Brody returns. How much better that's going to make, deeper.
I just hope that they continue to play the same way. That's all. Like right now, they feel like they need to come back and support to help these defensemen. I hope they still don't take guys like Brody for granted and they still go back and help. That's my thing. And we won't know until we play. Psychologically, maybe they will do that without even thinking about it. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, really quickly, let's go through our good, bads, and uglies of this game, and then we can kind of flip the page and talk about what we saw go down in practice today, which will bring us into the game against the Dallas Stars. So really quickly, the good, how about Mitch Marner breaking the record? That's 19 consecutive games now that he's been able to register a point. Did it in a pretty good fashion, a shorthanded goal, David. And it's funny, I was looking up on a sports book, and they're giving odds for how it would happen, and that was the biggest value, the longest odds, let's say. It was at 33-1 for him to get it with a shorthanded goal. I was this close to betting it, this close, and I didn't. I chickened out, but I should have. But a great goal, and Camp obviously give him a little pat on the back for the way that he got that. But it just goes to show that Mitch Marner, he's really done an excellent job this season as a 200-foot two-way player and turning defense into offense. And it's fitting that he breaks this record as a penalty kill, a shorthanded goal. So that was the good, right? Like Marner breaking the record, keeping it alive. And we'll see how much longer he can go. He'll be able to make it 20 in a row against the Dallas Stars. What was good for you?
Well, on top of the breaking the record, Mitch Marner scoring the goal later in the game too. Like he had the hot hand in that game. I thought him and John Tavares were they were feasting on the Lightning in this game. I thought that line was so dangerous. I think I was looking at it. Tavares had a 1.3 goals, expected goals in that game. First off, I know everyone was talking about the goal that was waved off. That was totally the right call. When you see a guy skate, direct the puck, a soccer player into the net, you're not winning that battle. Whether
I'll say this. If that was the fact that it was called a no goal on the ice, I knew it would be impossible to overturn. Exactly. But if it was called goal on the ice, I'm curious if there would have been enough to overturn it to say no goal, just because the guy was falling and it just happened to. Now, did he angle his foot so that as he was falling, he got a piece of it? Perhaps, but could you have definitively said that to wave the goal off if it were called a goal on the ice? I don't know about that. But either way, I agree. I think the right call was ultimately made, unfortunately for Leaf fans.
Yeah, so I thought that duo has been so good, and then obviously Nylander scoring that goal on the power play. The Leafs took advantage of their opportunities in this game, and the Lightning don't give many opportunities. I'm glad the Leafs pushed hard. So yeah, but I thought that Marner Tavares line has been so good lately. They just got to keep that going.
So I'm just looking to see what their individual expected goals were as a line. Marner was so 0.55. Tavares was 0.46. I don't know where you saw the stat of 1
I
point.
think I saw it on Money Puck. That's where I saw it.
Okay, maybe they have a different. I'm just looking on Natural Stat Trick. It's possible that they have a different kind of different system. Maybe it was. Oh, maybe you're looking at like the line as a whole. Let me see what the line as a whole expected goals was. 0.4. Either way, they have been really good, and it's definitely something that needs to. I don't know. I think there's a bigger conversation about this becoming more permanent. This split up of Matthews and Marner, because we're starting to see both of these lines go, which means we're getting depth scoring, more scoring, and that's certainly a positive sign to see. Bad, honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of bad in this game. I would say, maybe just penalties,
Yeah,
like
that was gonna be mine. The penalties that brought Tampa back into it were just the Kerfoot one was such an unnecessary play for him. It was a
yeah,
frustrating one. And then the Liljegren one, I didn't agree with that being a penalty because I felt that was a battle between the two guys and it just was an awkward fall into the boards. I didn't think like Liljegren was made an egregious play to trip him. So like I didn't agree with that call. I could see why the ref saw it that way, but yeah, the penalties were the killer. You don't take those penalties. Tampa had momentum. They were pushing, but those penalties gave them extra life in that game that the Leafs didn't need to give them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in agreement there. In terms of the ugly, just the overtime winner. I mean, the Leafs now 1-6, 1-6 in 3-on-3 overtime. It's becoming a concerning trend, but you just look at it, and a lot of the times it's just kind of lack of execution, lack of details, lack of focus. I don't know what it is. There's no sense of urgency. But like you just watch it, Austin Matthews tries a little dinky no look backhand sauce. It's over to Marner to try and spring him, but doesn't really get a whole lot on it, and just kind of it's a soft little floater, and it gets knocked down and sent the other way by Tampa. And when you make that type of mistake against the Lightning, more times than not, they're going to make you pay. And it was also a bad goal from Murray's perspective. I'll say that probably should have had that goal. But that's just a play that Austin Matthews just can't make, a giveaway he can't have in 3-on-3 overtime. That's when the puck does go the other way on the counter and often ends up in the back of your net, much like it did. So that play was just ugly, and it's just a continuance of what we've seen at 3-on-3 overtime. It's really becoming a concerning trend at this point for the Maple Leafs this year. That's 6 points now that they've left on the board by surrendering a goal at 3-on-3. 6 of a possible, I guess, 7. I guess, yeah, 6 of possible 7 points that they could have collected that they've just haven't been able to get.
Like I'm just thinking of all the overtime losses that they've had that you could say that they should have won, or they made a stupid mistake on. Tampa was one. We know about the Islanders. Like that game should never gone to overtime in the first place.
Right.
San Jose with the Carlson breakaway to win the game was on a foot turnover. Anaheim,
John Tavares against the Devils, Jack Hughes.
Yep. The Ducks was, I mean, you don't lose to the Ducks first off in overtime. And Vegas was.
How am I going to put you on the spot? But I forget how they lost to the Ducks. But to your point, you shouldn't get overtime.
Shalgren got beat by who was it? Was it McTavish that scored the goal? So it was a young player that scored for them in overtime in that one.
Okay.
Shalgren just got beat clean by a shot.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's all of these ones they're losing. It's like they've either come off of a turnover or it's a goal that the goaltender probably should have had. So it is becoming a little concerned. The only win that they do have in overtime is actually against the Dallas Stars, where they play tonight, and it was Nick Robertson in his debut. Got the overtime win. That's the only goal that they've scored in 3-on-3 hockey in the 7 attempts at it this year. Kind of strange. All right, why don't we take a quick break here? When we get back, why don't we get into some of the practice updates and get into things here, because we got a game coming up tonight. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just make this kind of a shorter episode here? Make this a shorter episode, and we'll put out our preview for tomorrow's game You can put that up in the morning. What do you think about that, Dave? As opposed to making this a longer 45-minute, little concise recap of the Tampa game, and then we can reconvene here in the morning and put out a new episode for everybody, a little preview to get them set for the game against the Stars. What do you think about that?
We'll take a break because I do want to show something in the second half of the show of this episode. We'll take a quick break and then we'll end the episode, and then we'll preview the Stars game. Yeah, we don't want to throw too much information on one episode at you guys.
That's right. All right, so we'll take a quick break. But before we do, let me tell you guys about one of today's show sponsors, and that is betonline.net?
Greens today.
Athletic Greens. Oh, that's all you, pal.
Athletic Greens is actually a product I've been using every day. 1 scoop of AG1 gives you all the vitamins and nutrients pretty much you need in your everyday life. I'm a person of convenience. I don't like to take a bunch of different pills. I don't like to look and have to remember which supplements I take on one day versus another day. I also want to find things that were going to help me get to that healthier lifestyle, help me with my digestion, energy. I'm also all about simplicity. No better feeling to get that than with AG1 Athletic Greens. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy, gluten-free, whatever the case may be, Athletic Greens will help you with that. It contains 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial flavors. And when you taste it, actually doesn't taste too bad. It doesn't leave that like aftertaste that some of these other products tend to use. I've noticed my sleep has gone a bit better taking it every day. And also just a reminder of taking 1 scoop of water every day. It's actually very, very simple. But the best part about it, it costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. And it's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself. Just take it, just get that all-in-one solution, 1 scoop every day. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Right now, it's time to claim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and vitamin supplements to arm your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morassutti. Dave, you said you had something unique you wanted to show the people, and is it what I see right there in the back?
Mike brought this up, so I'm gonna
go grab that bad boy. Go grab that bad boy. So for those who are listening in on podcast, we got is this a framed and signed John Tavares jersey? It's got a nice little 8x10 photo on it. Looks like on either side there's also a couple of pins, and it's nice and name plated. What do you got there?
It says John Tavares on it.
Well, I figured it'd be weird if it said David Kampf.
This is a little weird. Yeah, so I'm gonna put it back here. It's really heavy.
Is that going up? Is that going up right up there, like right above you to over your shoulder somewhere, or what?
If it can fit, then it's going to be the wall, almost like the wall of John Tavares. So I'll have to put something else over there. But I've had this jersey for over a year. I've had it, and I've been wanting to get it framed, but frames are expensive. If anybody knows jersey framings, they are not cheap.
Dude, that's a business to be in, by the way.
It definitely is. Shout out to the people over at Framesworth. They're fantastic. Probably one of the better companies to go and get this done. They had a little sale. I went in. Very easy. They said, okay, what jersey? I showed them the jersey. They're like, all right, come back in about a week. We'll have it done. They even had it done earlier. I was very surprised.
Nice.
So I've been wanting to do this for so long. I got a little lucky. I'm not like the jersey I found on eBay. It came with the certificate. The jersey costs less than when you buy an actual Leafs jersey online.
No way. No way.
I don't know what this person was doing. They put such a low starting bid, and nobody else bid on it. I was so surprised.
That's crazy. What a pickup. What a steal by Dave
Yeah.
Morassutti. Absolute steal, my guy. Playing some good hockey right now, man. Like John
It is.
Tavares. It's funny because in the summer, not that we were having this. Actually, I think we were a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for here? Like we thought he might be able to have a bit of a bounce back, but I don't think we even thought that it was going to be anywhere near to the extent that it's been this year. Like he's been a terrific, terrific player so far this season, and he's kind of smacking the doubters square in the face through the first couple of months. Got to persist. Clearly, he's got to be able to be consistent, do this throughout the rest of the year, and keep it going. But so far, the first couple of months, man, John Tavares has really proven the doubters wrong, and he's off to a really good start. So that's a pretty good signed jersey to have there, my friend.
Yeah, and actually, so like a lot of people, like my brother and my mom, were like, so where are you putting that? My mother especially, she's like, gonna put that in the office. And I said, problem is this thing is so heavy, it needs like 2 hooks. It is really heavy. Like when I picked
man, it's a heavy duty frame.
I was surprised when I saw it the first time. I was like, holy, is this thing big? So it's either gonna go up here. This is something I'm gonna ask the Locked On Leafs guy. You guys have to help me with this. Do I put it in the office or do I put it in my main, like where I watch the games? Because I got a nice brick wall that I could put it over. It's got like a little one of those electric fireplaces, so it would go on top of that. I don't know. I'm kind of debating right now where it needs to go. So I'm looking for advice on this. I'm not gonna be Curtis from Alberta. I'm not gonna have a bunch of jerseys lined up in my basement, but I am certainly proud of this one. So I want to make sure it's getting a prominent place in my basement.
Yeah, I feel like it could go like right in the middle of those two, but like have them centered so that that one's there, and then the other right on the side. It's kind of, all centered and symmetrical and whatnot. That might be an option for you. Yeah, you're gonna have to kind of play with it a little bit, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. All right, Dave. Really quick before we go, one of today's show sponsors was also BetOnline.net. It's your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer, hockey, esports. They got it all at BetOnline.net. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. And you can make some wagers on the game tomorrow night featuring the Maple Leafs and the Dallas Stars. We will be back tomorrow with another episode to recap or to tee up that game, rather. So make sure that you come back for that one. But that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcast platforms. Receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti, and follow the show at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back for another episode tomorrow. But until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.